sincere and pure devotion to Christ. It's very easy, very, 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 very simple. One Jesus, one Holy Spirit, and one gospel that leads us to the Father. And all of that is summed up in the person of Jesus Christ. Not hard, it's supremely simple. And that's why the world is at war with this gospel. Because it's so simple that everybody who's intellectual says it can't be that easy. It is. That's why it's good news. Okay, friends, by the end of this preach, I hope you're going to go home with a better understanding of who Jesus is and what he's come to do and the centrality of everything that is Christ. I'm going to give you a snapshot of Jesus this morning. Now, he's not the fairy tale Jesus, or let's say the children's Bible Jesus. Nothing wrong with the children's Bible, but he's not the Jesus that walks and floats. He is immensely powerful, and he is the manifestation of the Trinity. And when Jesus rose from the dead, he lives among us in his presence as the Holy Spirit. He said, I will go and I will come back and be with you and live in you. This is Jesus. He gave us his Spirit. And so this is important to understand, because Jesus isn't an abstract, he isn't a historical figure that once lived, and all of that's true, but that all serves the purpose of him becoming Lord of the entire universe. And so he will reign until he's put all enemies under his feet, the word says, and the last enemy to be placed under his feet, according to 1 Corinthians 15, is death, right? And that's the last. But until then, there's going to be successive conquests by the king in the pursuit of him extending his powerful kingdom. And so all of us are captives of that kingdom, and all of us that are believers are sons of that kingdom, and we have an inheritance in that kingdom. And so the whole concept of Jesus is not a small thing. It's immense. And you need to know that. And so you're going to go out with a better foundation of Jesus in your life. Okay, so 1 Corinthians 3 verse 11. 1 Corinthians 3:11 says this: for no one can lay a foundation other than what we have already laid, which is Jesus Christ. There is one foundation, it's Jesus Christ. Now, friends, churches go off target sometimes when churches can be built around worship teams. Do you know that? We're a worshiping church, okay? Nothing wrong with being a worshiping church. But you know that something is wrong when your identity as a church isn't around the person of Jesus or the songs we sing and write. Anybody a songwriter here? I think we do have some songwriters here today. But if you're a songwriter, friends, you've got nothing better to sing about than the person who is the essence of everything, who is Jesus. He holds all things together inside of himself, says Colossians chapter 1. Right? So there's nothing better to, and you know, in some churches, we say some churches are pastoral churches, and they're shepherding churches, and it's all about loving people. And sometimes you can love people at the expense of loving Jesus. Did you know that? Possible. You know that some church movements have gone so far off from center where to be politically correct and to accept the outcast and the downtrodden and the marginalized, they've chucked Jesus out of the building and welcomed in sin. We've got a huge problem with that on the planet at the moment. Churches in South Africa are being torn apart because of, we want to keep people happy and not Jesus happy. We're impressing the wrong person. Henny Cater said it so well at the men's camp. He said, sometimes we're making sandwiches that Jesus never ordered. And that's true. We're dishing up stuff for Jesus that he doesn't want. It's like, I don't like that. That's not my flavor. That's not my taste. That's not what I'm about. And we can preach comfortable gospel. We can also preach encouraging gospel and motivating, and there's nothing wrong with motivation. I do believe we should leave church inspired, and our faith should rise, but we don't have faith in faith. The faith movement was great in helping people to have faith in faith. In fact, one of my heroes of the faith wrote a book that said, have faith in faith. No, have faith in Jesus. Because my faith does this. The concept of faith is very abstract, but Jesus is the one we have faith in his ability, not our own ability. And he's strong when we are weak. And I'd rather nail myself onto that rock that doesn't roll. I want to be nailed to him. I want to be built in him. I want to be built onto him. He's the foundation. He's the cornerstone. You know, we can have churches that are prophetic churches. We can have churches, nothing wrong. But the main thing is the main one. When we stray off that, we get our pet doctrines, pet theologies, pets. You know, so I love the Holy Spirit, and I love manifestations of the Holy Spirit, but some churches are built around the manifestation of the Holy Spirit. I want you to understand right now, and later on in the preach, I want you to understand that the Holy Spirit always points to Jesus. We've got to make sure that the gospel is centered around Jesus and not around our own opinions or even experiences. You can't take an experience with you. You can take Jesus with you. Your experience, hey, should we have joy in the Lord? Yes. Man, should we fall over? Yes. Should we speak in tongues? Yes. Should we live in the Holy Spirit? Yes. Should we have goosebumps? Absolutely. Should we encounter God? Absolutely. All the time. But that encounter should point to Jesus. If it points away from Jesus, Jesus said the Holy Spirit will never point to himself. He'll only speak what he hears, and he will glorify me, says Jesus in John chapter 14. Isn't that right? When the Holy Spirit does not glorify Jesus, I question if that's the Holy Spirit. If the Holy Spirit glorifies man, I'll question mark. I'm not saying it isn't the Holy Spirit, but I'm saying I want to question that. I don't want to be critical and I don't want to be cynical, but I want to glorify Jesus so much that everything is measured in the light of Jesus, because that's the big light. There are lesser lights, but Jesus is the big spotlight, and we can see clearly through him. All right, so churches are built around Jesus. Now, he's the firm foundation that we build on. Let no man build any other foundation. We don't build around a preacher. We don't build around a worship team. We don't build around leadership style. We don't build around administration. All of these things are essential. We build around the person of Jesus. No relationship with Jesus, everything we do is futile, friends. My friends, get this. That fullness of the authority of the entire universe is for the church. It's for you. Of course, the devil wants to distract you from sincere and pure devotion to Christ, so that you don't live in the power and the authority and the magnificence and the magnitude of Christ. There's one Holy Spirit and there's one gospel. What's the gospel? There's a Father in heaven, and Jesus is the bridge between you and the Father. That's the gospel. Simple. That's the devotion we have. Focus on the road. Jesus says, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. You know, I learned to motorcycle a couple of years ago. I love motorcycling. It's amazing. It's a great sport, great hobby. It's fantastic. The first trick somebody taught me, because I was hitting obstacles. I was hitting them and I didn't know how to go around them. Like, I started off in the bush with a little bush bike. And my brother-in-law, Christopher, said to me, your problem is you're looking at the obstacle, you're not looking at the path. If you look at the path, your bike will find a way around that obstacle. If you look at that obstacle, you're going to hit it. If you look at the path, you'll miss the obstacles. It's like a true story. The more we focus on the pothole, the more we hit it. If we focus on the way, the truth, and the life, you're going to miss the potholes. You're going to miss the obstacles. End up on the road and not in the bush. Sincere and pure devotion to Christ. It's very easy, very, 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 very simple. One Jesus, one Holy Spirit, and one gospel that leads us to the Father. And all of that is summed up in the person of Jesus Christ. Not hard. It's supremely simple. And that's why the world is at war with this gospel. Because it's so simple that everybody who's intellectual says it can't be that easy. It is. That's why it's good news. It's simple. It's a person. Jesus Christ.